Hello and welcome to Scribes and Songsters. I'm Veronique Mandel. We've taken the show on the road again, and this time it's a very special place that's familiar to me. We're in the St. Clair College Mediaplex in the heart of downtown Windsor. The Mediaplex houses the journalism and public relations programs, along with the Media Convergence graduate program. The building also houses the travel and tourism program, so you can see it's a very busy place. Well, last season, Vanessa Shields was a guest on this show, and we discussed her books of poetry, and she has many. Since that appearance, Vanessa has undertaken a new project. She opened Gertrude's Writing Room, located in the heart of Windsor's Walkerville district. This is a gathering place for writers, and there's nothing else like it in Windsor. And here to tell us all about it is Vanessa Shields. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
Who's Gertrude?
So Gertrude is Gertrude Stein, the great American writer. So when I was pregnant with Miller, my second child, I had the opportunity to go to a writing retreat in France, and we stopped in Paris, and we went to Shakespeare and Company and read poetry out front. It was all very romantic and lovely. But I also read Hemingway's book, A Movable Feast, and in there he talks about, the poets and the artists in the 20s in Paris and how everyone sort of flocked there, and they would all go to Gertrude Stein's apartment.
What a great reason to call it Gertrude's Writing Room. I love that.
Thank you.
So what was the genesis of you deciding to do this? I mean, you're a really busy person.
Well, the grand flood 2 years ago, not the kind of mini one that we just had, but the one before. I had my office and all my books and everything down there, and then our basement flooded down there. That's what I mean.
We just had a flood recently.
So everything got packed up, and we were deciding what we were going to do and how we were going to redo the basement. And at one point I thought, well, I would open up kind of a smaller version of it, always called Gertrude's something, Gertrude's Writing Room, Gertrude's Literary Cafe. I had all these different names. And then I just sort of started looking around at places and found a couple that I really loved, but they were kind of accessibility issues. And then I just dropped it, and we just sort of left the basement, and life kept going. And then this space came available, and I went and looked at it, and I thought, oh my God, this is it. And so it was a total crazy risk. I was not prepared at all, except that when I walked in the space, I felt like this is it. Like, just do it now, just go for it.
It's interesting how
you've got everything to lose, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And that's really how it started. I just sort of walked in this space and felt like, okay, this is where it's going to start. This is where this dream is going to start coming true.
Tell us what you have in there. What programs do you offer?
So we offer workshops, classes, editing, and mentoring. And so workshops are just sort of one-off events, and they have they're all different. So we've done laughter, yoga, and writing. We've done powerful prompts. In the new year, we've got...
What's a powerful prompt?
So there's a writer in the city called Rebecca Lee, and she wrote this wonderful book called Wounded Writers Ask, Am I Doing It Right? W-R-I-T-E. And it's just a book of really beautiful prompts that are paired with art projects. So the first half of the workshop was we were making art in all these really kind of cool different ways. And then we had the art to look at, and she would give us a prompt, like ask us a question, and we would look at the art and pull out a poem or an essay or whatever we could from the art. So the power was in, the joining of art and the prompt and writing together. We've got Christian Laforet and Ben Van Doggen, who are going to be doing a workshop in the new year about like duos, like they're writing partners. They don't write the same story, but they write together in the same space, and they have this really wild writing relationship. So they're going to talk about that and their experience with self-publishing and writing horror and science fiction.
Yeah.
I'm doing one on erotic writing for February. If you want to, write your lover a sexy poem, you have the time in the space to do that. And then classes range again from genre. We've had fiction, we've had memoir, and poetry, and we'll be running all of those again in the new year.
Now, what age range?
Right now, it's mostly adult, although we are going to have some that are geared specifically to probably teens is probably the youngest that I'll go, because I work with a lot of teens in the education system. And, you know, sometimes we make really great connections. And so I'm trying to stay connected with them and ask them what they want. I'm going to get a comic book workshop going they want rap. They want to learn how to rap and write lyrics for rap. So I'm really just kind of at this early stage, wherever I go, whoever I meet, I say, what do you want? And I see if I can create that for them.
It's so exciting.
Yeah.
Are you having fun?
I'm having so much fun. It's weird. I have to remind myself that it's work.
No,
you know, like the stress starts to come in, but I'm like, hold on a minute. This is like what you wanted. This is the work you want to be doing. So yeah, it's really nice.
What are you seeing in people? I mean, are there moments when you think, oh, wow?
Well, I believe that everybody can be a writer. I believe that everyone has the ability to express themselves in that way, shape, or form. And I believe that everybody has a story to tell. So whether they speak that story, whether it comes out in art, whether it comes out in, you know, writing or poetry, I really want to be someone who can cultivate that. And I feel like if you just give someone the opportunity to be in a space where they can just talk, miracles happen, and you find out things about people that like give you full body goosebumps, and then they realize that they have this story in them, and then I'm just there to kind of be the conduit to say, okay, well, how would you like to express this? But it's great. It's a really special kind of sacred space. It kind of feels like a big hug when you come in. It's comfortable. There's always tea and warm drinks, and we always have some sort of snacks. So, you know, I want it to feel like you're just coming home, except this home is this place where you get to work on your, you know, indulging your creativity.
You're going to have them lined up at the door after the explanation you've just given.
Yeah, it's great. We laugh, we cry. I mean, it's really intense, some of it. And most of the people who come are first-time writers who like literally are bursting with this story that they have to tell, but they don't know how to get it out or where to begin. I'm getting like emotional just thinking about it. And so a lot of the work, especially the one-on-one, is we just talk, you know, and it takes a few weeks to kind of figure out how to get the story out, and that's the most important part. We can worry about the format and the grammar and all of that stuff later, but it's just kind of figuring out how to pull it out. That's really where the magic happens.
Has there been anything, or has there been a person who really made an aha moment?
Everybody has.
Wow.
I know that sounds crazy, but so even we did a laughter yoga and writing workshop. And so laughter yoga is all about laughing. You're not like doing a downward dog or moving around or anything. Yeah. It's like sort of a stationary, you stand and you sit, but you're laughing, right? So you're moving your energy around through that action of laughter. And so we did that, and it's actually kind of really meditative. And so then there were little prompts that I had after, and we wrote. And there's actually a young fellow in there. He was 12, and he had come with his mother. And I gave everybody a little rock, and I said, okay, this is a piece of you that you've been looking for, you know, write about it. And he wrote this beautiful piece about fear and how he actually wanted to get rid of it. And it was something that he, you know, wants to throw away. And he started crying, and his mom started crying, and we all started crying. And it was just, he was so brave. And it was just a really beautiful, vulnerable moment. And it was just like, we didn't know he was going to share. He actually put his hand up and asked if he could share, which was wild in itself. And it was him and all these women, like total grown moms around him. And so we all just were so inspired, and just like we were laughing, so it was also really fun. But we left just sort of all floating, right? It was just really, really powerful. And it happens in every instance. I mean, get people together and give them the space,
and magic happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have people sort of bringing their dark moments?
Yeah, that's always mixed in there. Like, so what this young man was talking about was, you know, his own fear of things that are happening within himself, right? But everybody sure has the darkness or the shadow, and that has to come, that matches. Like I always say, like, the biggest pain you feel is equal to the biggest love you feel. So that's always mixed in there. And sometimes, right, like sometimes that's sort of blocking the joy and the sunshine or whatever word you want to use. And so again, it's really just, I do a lot of listening.
I really like that idea of developing these wonderful bits from laughter, because, you know, so often you hear people say, well, you have to, you know, the best writing comes from dark moments and dark things in your life. That may be true, that some good stuff comes, but I think being able to bring writing that comes from laughter and joy is really quite special.
I agree. I totally agree. And that's something we talk about, and it comes up in the workshops, and it comes up in the classes, and it comes up on the one-on-ones. Yeah, because there's always this duality, but there's always the equality in the duality too. And you know, people want to get the dark stuff out, but they want to be happy too. So like, we're there to cultivate that, right? And so the garden is going to grow whatever it's going to grow. I'm speaking so metaphorically. I'm sorry, but you know, these are the ways that I can find to explain it. But yeah, like, there's some hard stuff that people bring, and sometimes it does feel like therapy, but like, I'm not a therapist. I'm not trained that way. And you know, people know that right away. But I tell you, just listening is really special. Sometimes that's all people need, is just to be heard.
And so how do people sign up?
So I have a website, and it's gertrudeswritingroom.com, and everything is on the website. My email, telephone. I enjoy communicating through email. Is probably the best way to connect, but you know, I talk on the phone too, but everything is listed on the website there. And wonderful. I'm on Facebook too, but I'm trying to drive people to the website because there's just so much information, and I don't have time for all that social media.
That's
Go
awesome.
to the website.
I've got one quick question. So Windsor is looking for a new poet laureate.
That is true.
Are you going to apply?
I'm not going to apply. You know what? I really need to build this. I need to keep the momentum. I have a new book coming out in 2021, a new book of poetry. Palimpsest Press is publishing it. So I want to focus on that. And I mean, I looked at the application, and I was like, I don't even have time to fill it. So I'm supporting the poets. If someone needs a letter of recommendation, I'd be happy to write that, but
I'll have you back and ask you next time.
Yes, oh, for sure. Next time for sure I will, but not this time,
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, always. Let's get coffee,
Okay. And now for some music. Earlier this season, we brought you a music video from Leamington's Francine Honey called Snowflakes on My Eyelashes. Isn't that just the greatest title? This was from her recently released album titled To Be Continued. Well, now we have a second music video from that same album, and this song is called Honey. Here is Francine Honey.
On thighs, hair curls to my shoulders, red lipstick, smoky eyes. Hey, honey, honey, hey, honey, honey, give me some honey tonight. Hey, honey, honey, hey, honey, honey, suit, pants, belt, buckle, button shirt, hugging you tight, black tie, Adam's apple, shiny shoes, sparkly blue eyes. Hey, honey, honey, hey, honey, honey, give me some honey tonight. Hey, honey, honey, I want some honey. Give me some honey tonight. Only you make me this crazy. I'd be buzzing round the high. You've got that special something, drives me wild. Hey, honey, honey. Hey, honey, honey. Give me some honey tonight. Hey, honey, honey. Hey, honey, honey. Give me some honey tonight. Yeah, give me some honey tonight. Oh, come on, baby. Give me some honey. Hey, honey, honey. Hey, honey, honey. Hey, honey, honey. Hey, honey, honey. Give me some honey tonight.
That was Francine Honey from her latest album, To Be Continued. Well, it's always exciting when we have an opportunity to introduce young writers on our show. I'm particularly delighted to have you meet my next guest. Ryan Jones is a young writer who has just had her first novel published, and I'm so pleased to have had her as one of my students here in the journalism program at the Mediaplex. Welcome to Scribes and Songsters.
Thank you, Vera. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
We'll talk about that in a minute, but I was curious after reading your book, what was your reading list like when you were growing up, when you were little?
It's actually a good question. Remember, like, you always, like, even in classes, you know, you read what you write and stuff like that. And in order to write dystopia, you obviously have to read dystopia.
And did you?
I did. Growing up, it started out as me reading a lot of fantasy, though. But then as I grew older, probably getting into my tween and teenage years, that turned into, like, my love for sci-fi and dystopia. And I love authors like Lauren Oliver and Scott Westerfeld, and those were the people and the authors who inspired my work.
Now, did you read a lot?
Yes. As a child, like, my mom would always read to me before going to bed. A lot of children's books, a lot of Dr. Seuss and Robert Munch. In grade school, I'd read, like, the whole Magic School Bus series, the Junie B. Jones series, all like that, and the Little House on the Prairie series too. And then in high school, I read the whole Inheritance Cycle by Christopher Paolini. So yeah, I did a lot of reading.
And so did you do a lot of writing? I mean, when did that bug hit you?
Yes, it's actually interesting. When I was younger, I'd kind of write in a diary here or there. That's as far as it really went. I did know that in grade school I liked language arts and all that creative writing stuff, but I didn't really realize how much I loved writing until my grade 12 creative writing class. I love my teacher, Mr. Hamlin. He was so passionate about his work. He would, like, sit with us one-on-one and, like, dig through our works and progresses. So that was when I knew that I need to do something with writing.
And so you came to journalism.
I did, yep.
And did you find that that kind of writing helped you? Like, I find it helps me be a sharper writer.
For sure. Like, being in journalism, it helps you to get rid of the unnecessary words, the unnecessary sentences, and it actually helps with story flow. Yeah.
And what people often or don't realize is that in good journalism writing, the most important thing is to actually be creative in being descriptive.
Yeah.
So you don't lose the essence of a book by using words like beautiful.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yep.
You know what the bug I have about the word beautiful.
Yes.
So let's talk about The Defective. Sort of give us a synopsis.
Okay, so it's set in futuristic North America, in Manhattan, New York, that type of city with all of, like, the concrete jungle. So after an epidemic of mental illness happened, the government decided to operate on those who survived, and they kept them encaged in a force field just to analyze them and see how they were doing. And so they were implanted with microchips in their wrists so they can control their feelings. So they can't be too happy, they can't be too sad, they can't get angry, they can't get frustrated, so they can't have depression and they can't have anxiety. But for some people, the operation didn't work, and it's like their bodies knew that they were human and they rode the system. And so the main character, Tave, she is a defective, and she has to try to combat her emotions and the fact that she's a human and she has these feelings, and she has to try and hide that.
Where did the idea come from?
A lot of my story ideas actually just will hit me, usually in the middle of the night, and I have to get up and like write the first couple of chapters, and then I'm all good. I would say Lauren Oliver's Delirium trilogy did inspire this. They're different though. The trilogy is called Delirium because in that trilogy they think love is a disease and it's illegal to fall in love, and it's called delirium. So it's kind of, I took the aspect of like that emotion being illegal, but I made it like more of the emotions. Yeah.
Tell me about your characters. You have some very interesting characters in the book. Did you like them?
Some I wrote to purposely dislike, because we always need that in a book for characters and the readers. But even though I wrote a certain character to dislike him, I still ended up liking him because of his purpose in the story. And
did you model them on people?
I did, actually.
Oh, yeah.
I did. Just one character in particular. Yep.
The bad guy?
No. Larrick, who Tave ends up meeting in like the middle of the story, I based him off a character off of Grey's Anatomy. Yep.
And the names, I mean, they've got interesting names.
I gave them, I gave them interesting names because I don't know why, I think in the future more odd names will probably come about.
It's interesting because, and perhaps you get away with this more in science fiction anyway, or that type of writing, but even I think in everyday life, people are moving away from common names.
Exactly, yeah, I agree with that. Especially because you see these celebrities naming their children like Blue Ivy and,
Yes. North, south, east, and west.
Yes.
Direction. Yeah. The direction kids. When you were writing it, and it's obvious that you have some understanding of government, and did you ever feel that you were going down a road that was looking at how, if you abrogate everything to a government, and if you allow a government to make lots of decisions for you, that you're on a slippery slope to defective?
Yes, I feel like that if government has too much control, that people will start to, rebel and act out. And that's what happens in a lot of dystopian novels.
Well, you also, I noticed, you changed the point of view. So tell me about that.
I did that to just spritz it up a bit, because that's something I adore in novels, is when I can see things from another character's perspective, especially if it's a supporting character. Because, throughout the book, you get the vibe of the main character, but it's kind of nice to step in the shoes of the person who's standing next to them. So I'll go to Glenn's point of view. And it just, gives the reader a different flavor of seeing what's going on, things like that.
I like it myself, but I often hear some writers say that they don't like it when it's another point of view.
Yes, I've actually heard this, and I've actually learned this in my creative writing course, that it's hit or miss, and then some writers actually think it's bad writing if you do it. But for me, I say all the power to you, because I love that stuff.
I do too, and what I find is, and I don't know whether you notice this as well, you get a different sense of a character when it's coming from the character, right?
Yes, yep.
And is there one character you absolutely loved to sort of embody? The one point of view that you really got into?
I would say Glenn, because he was closest to Tay from the beginning, and I like to see it through his eyes of the story and everything that they go through. He's kind of like the underdog of the story almost.
And tell us about the relationships as well, family relationships that were created here.
Yes, so Tate has a mom, a dad, and a little sister. Of course, they can't show affection towards one another. They never say "I love you." They rarely hug. I think they might have hugged once, but it's very civil. It's kind of like you're talking to a teacher, because they can't show emotions, because that's how the world in The Defective is made.
Was there a point in the book where you thought, Where am I taking this?
Actually, no. I don't know. Like there's two writing terms that people often use. It's a planner and a pantster. And I am a pantster. Like I don't have to write out a chart. If I just write down the first couple of chapters and keep going, like I let the writing do itself. Sometimes I don't even know where the story's going to go until I just keep writing.
Do you have a favorite part of the book?
The ending. The ending was my favorite part to write.
How about if you read a bit?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not supposed to be like this. What I am is what they would call a defective. They'd strip my mechanical system and throw me in the dump where all the broken people, can you even call us people, rot. That's what we cyborgs consider death. It happened 1,000 years ago back in 2017. The government decided they had enough with people throwing themselves off ledges due to voices muddling their heads. They had enough with people slicing their wrists, hoping it would outweigh the pain of heartbreak. They had enough drug overdoses and overindulgences in alcohol to comfort personal fervor and turmoil. So they stripped us of the thing that makes us most human, the ability to feel love, sympathy, empathy, happiness, sadness, gone. They reprogrammed our brains, reconstructed our hearts, sealed our tear ducts, and drained our veins so that we could no longer feel, not a damn thing. Then why is it that when I look at him, my heartbeat pulses at forbidden speeds, my palms accumulate a layer of sweat, and my tongue begins to tingle, preventing my ability to speak? Shit. I'm broken. I'm a defective.
That's lovely. Now, I'm going to go to the last 3 words. Read them.
To be continued.
So I assume there's something else coming.
Yes, there is. It is in the works. I have about 13,000 words written, but I've already written a second novel. It's completely different from the series, but I will get back to it for those who like The Defective and all that. But my main focus right now is currently a YA contemporary novel.
I wish you all the success. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll look forward to your next one. So where can we buy your book?
So you can buy it on Amazon, both USA and Canada, and it's currently locally sold at Storytellers, and I plan to get it into Indigo. I just gotta set that up.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
Another show has flown by, and I want to thank my wonderful guests, Vanessa Shields and Ryan Jones. Thank you to Gary and Brian, as always, but most importantly, thank you for watching. I look forward to next time when you'll meet more of the talented Scribes and Songsters right here in Windsor and Essex County. I'm Veronique Mandel.